What's up, everyone? Game Master 468 here, and this time I'm doing something a little bit different. As you are very well aware, Season 2 of the My Thoughts series has taken a really long time to get released, but fear not. I'm happy to announce that this video is finally in the editing phase, which means that the release of the next My Thoughts video is just around the corner at long last. But that doesn't mean I know when it'll come out. I know it'll be soon. Really soon. Just don't know how soon. And I felt kinda bad for leaving you guys waiting for so long for a new My Thoughts video. I mean, it's been like, what, 8-9 months since the Tiny Toons review was uploaded? That is way too long. So to tie you guys over until the next My Thoughts video comes out, and to sort of make up for the long wait that I put you guys through, I decided to release this video for you guys. It's basically like the My Thoughts videos, but just a lot shorter. So with that said, a lot of you might remember the review I did last year of Nintendo's E3 conference. Boy, that conference was awesome, wasn't it? Oh man, they announced a lot of great games during that event. Some awesome ones, some very meh ones, and some very... One of the games that they mentioned during this conference was a new IP called Splatoon, and if you watched that video, you might remember that I had very mixed feelings about the game. I felt this way because, on the one hand, this game is a shooter game. And as my longtime viewers are very well aware, I'm not a very big fan of shooter games. A lot of them just have the copy and paste goal of just shoot this guy and you win. But on the other hand, this is also a shooter game with a very unique concept. In this game, your goal isn't to shoot everyone, but instead, cover the level with your colored ink. The team whose ink covers the most of the level wins. And not just that, but the whole idea of playing as characters who can transform into squids adds some very interesting gameplay mechanics to the game. So with that said, you can probably see why I felt so torn about this game. It has a very unique concept, but it's also a shooter game. With these two things constantly going back and forth in my head, I just couldn't decide if I should get this game or not. Then I heard that Nintendo was doing a little event called Global Testfire. Global Testfire was a short event that allowed players to try out the game for free for a limited time. They only did this for 2 separate days as far as I'm aware, and they both lasted for about an hour. It should be worth noting that this is an online game, so you can easily see why Nintendo did this event. Online servers can be really tough to manage, so they needed people to hop on the game to test the stability of the servers. You know, to make sure that whenever you try to join a match, the game doesn't suddenly go... Still though, this was the perfect opportunity to check out the game for myself. The perfect chance to put my concerns to rest and see if I like where the game is going or not. So when I heard that the second event was going on, because I kinda missed the first event unfortunately, I went right on over to the Nintendo eShop and downloaded the demo right away. But the question is, was it worth it? Did I enjoy my time with the Global Testfire? Well, there's only one way to find out. Grab the nearest water gun you can find and fill it up with as much paint as you can, because we're going to be taking a look at the demo for the game Splatoon. So without further ado, let's begin. So when I start up the game, I instantly notice a few things. The first thing I noticed is this title screen music. Well, those are certainly some, questionable noises. The second thing I noticed is that I have the ability to customize my character. Am I a boy or a girl? Whoa, dude, you doing this? You seriously doing this? I come onto your game and the first thing you do is ask me hard-hitting questions like, am I a boy or a girl? You don't just drop a bomb like that on someone, alright? You gotta ease them into these things first. Oh man, I don't even know what to pick. I get really nervous when I'm put on the spot like this. Go! Oh, that was a close one. Thought they could fool me with their questions. But yeah, you actually are able to customize your character a bit. You don't really have a lot of options, though. You can really only change the skin tone and the eye color, so your options are pretty limited here. I'm not going to count this as a flaw against the game, though, since they did announce that you'll have way more options for customizing your character in the full game. Alright, done customizing. Is this cool? Hold on. I'm starting to think I'm not actually a girl. So I create my actual character, and I instantly get plopped right into the tutorial. And the very first thing it tells me to do when I enter the tutorial is to rotate the camera by moving the gamepad. Oh boy. This just doesn't work. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not broken, it's functional, but it's incredibly awkward to do. It's a little hard to explain why. It's one of those things where you kinda need to experience it yourself to really understand what I mean. But let me put it like this. This is a shooter game, right? Meaning you'll need to react quickly to defeat all of your opponents. This is the type of game where you need to be aware of your surroundings at all times. And that obviously means you're going to be rotating the camera at all times. So this is a game where you need to be aware of your surroundings and react quickly to keep yourself alive. But in order to do that, you're constantly having to do this with the gamepad to get the camera to where you want it to be. And unlike other games like Super Mario 3D Land that also uses this feature, you can't turn it off. I checked. There is no options menu to be seen here. Maybe they'll have one in the full game, but in the demo, it just flat out doesn't exist. So that means you have to use this control scheme to move the camera. You can use the right analog stick to rotate as well, but guess what? It only moves it left or right. So you still have to move the gamepad if you want to look up or down, and it's incredibly awkward to do. Why does Nintendo insist on using the gyro controls to move the camera in some of their games? They used it in Super Mario 3D Land, they used it in Nintendo Land, and now they're using it in this. Why? If you really want to use this type of control scheme on something, look at Lego City Undercover. That's an example of a game that uses the gyro sensors perfectly. When you're just moving around normally, you just use the right analog stick to move the camera. But when you're using the scanner, you use the gamepad. No enemies, no need to move around, just stand there and scan for what you needed. That was cool, because it felt like the gamepad was the scanner. It felt like you were actually scanning for hidden secrets, and it didn't feel awkward, because you weren't having to move around while adjusting the gamepad. Using the gamepad to do basic tasks like moving the camera isn't cool or realistic, it's just awkward. Like, why even have this? It doesn't add to the game at all. Just using the right analog stick to move it will work just fine, but no! Instead, we got these camera controls, which just feels unnatural. But you know what doesn't feel unnatural? Well, pretty much everything else. Yeah, I know I kinda went on a little while on that subject, but to be perfectly honest, that's really the only really negative thing I can say about the controls in this game. Like I said, the only reason you ever want to move the gamepad is if you need to look up or down, which still isn't good. It still feels pretty clunky, but it's better than having to move it in order to look everywhere, I suppose. Still could have done without it, but whatever. Everything else, though, controls really well. Shooting is done by hitting down the ZR button, and it works just how you would expect it to. It's quick, and it gets the job done really well. You'll be covering the whole level with ink in practically no time at all. And I gotta say, covering the level with ink actually feels pretty satisfying, I must say. Shooting isn't all you can do, though. By holding down the ZL button, you can transform into a squid, which gives you the ability to hide and swim through your own colored ink. It's really great for when you need to get somewhere fast, and when I say you can swim through your own ink, I mean you can swim just about anywhere your ink is covering. So, let's say you need to get up this high ledge. No problem. Just shoot the wall with a bit of ink and swim your way up to the top. I actually really like this mechanic. I can easily see this being used for cleverly moving through obstacles. I did find the squid controls to be a little tricky at first, but trust me, you get used to them really quickly. So I finished the tutorial, and I get thrown into a weapon selection screen. As you can see, we've got 4 weapons to choose from. First we got the Splattershot Jr. and the Splattershot, which are your typical shooty weapons. I think one has a shorter shooting range than the other, but I'm not actually sure since I never really tried using the Splattershot Jr. Probably should have done that first. We also have the Splat Charger, which is by far the most horrible weapon in the entire game. And lastly, my personal favorite, the Splat Roller, which creates a large paint trail as you move and also dominates anyone who gets in your way. Each of these weapons are really well made and enjoyable to use. Again, except for the Splat Charger. That weapon is just... Anyways, enough about that. It's time for us to get into our very first match. Yeah, look at us go! Oh man, we're doing so well. We're gonna win for sure. Oh man, it's gonna be so. Wow. Alright, this time we're really gonna win. I died. Yeah, I'm not very good at this game if you couldn't tell already, but I did still have a bit of fun with it. And really, that's all there really is to this demo. Try to cover the level with ink before your opponents can, and whichever team's ink covers the most of the level wins. And you better make sure you win, because losing a match really takes a toll on our fellow squid friends. Seriously man, losing really messes with their emotions. It's pretty sad to see, with their reactions ranging from completely devastated to mildly disappointed. But in all seriousness, there's really not much else to talk about with this demo, aside from how the online servers work, which seemed to work really well. I didn't come across any lag, I didn't get disconnected, it all seemed to work just fine. Other than that, I can't really think of anything else to say about this demo other than it's pretty good. But that doesn't mean we're finished with this video quite yet, because before we go, I want to briefly talk about what they announced for this game during the most recent Nintendo Direct. Sure, some of this information may be outdated now, since the game will most likely already come out by the time this video gets uploaded, but you know what, it's my review, so I'll do whatever I want! Before the Global Testfire went live, Nintendo released a new Nintendo Direct telling us a little bit more about the game. There's a level up system, there's a hub world, there's a single-player campaign, and a colorful cast of NPCs such as what in the name of King Jellyfish Jelly is that monstrosity? All of these things sound really interesting to me. I'm especially interested in the story mode this game is going to have, as it looks like it's going to expand on what the squid mechanic is able to do. They also showed off the amiibo integration, which I still don't care about in all honesty, and they showed off a few of the characters. Some of them look interesting, but I'm not really a big fan of how Nintendo is trying to make these guys look and sound all hip and cool. I won't get into that here though, I'll save my complaints on that for if I decide to do a review of the full game. They also showed off new weapons, upcoming events they have planned for the game, new game modes, and so much more stuff, I can't even name them all. So overall, this game does show a lot of promise. Nintendo did do a better job catching my attention with all this info than they did when they first announced it. Question is though, will I end up getting the full game? Well, I'm still in no real rush to get the game, but there is a much heavier lean towards yes than there was back when I first talked about this game. They showed off a lot of interesting things in this Direct, and I did have some fun with the Global Testfire. Overall, I'd say I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how this game will turn out. And I think that's it. That's pretty much everything I want to talk about in this video. If you've played the Global Testfire, or better yet, if you've played the full game, then let me know what you think about the game in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this mini review, and hang tight everyone, because My Thoughts Season 2 will be coming your way sometime soon. Hopefully this video will make the way a little more bearable for you guys. Until then though, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. See you later, everyone. Okay, that part wasn't intentional. Why do all of these bloopers involve nearly breaking something? Oh, there I go again. That's oh gosh.